how to stay the course when things aren't going your way. Most learners of Japanese will have an easy time staying the course in the beginning. Many people might have a problem actually starting, but once you get going following a beginner program, most learners will experience a period where things progress smoothly. While you basically have the whole language to learn at this stage, it's all new and fresh and it's easy to see progress. Problems tend to arise, however, a few steps down the road where things aren't as easy anymore. The people who succeed are generally those who have a well thought out routine. Once learning Japanese becomes just something you do, it's easier to keep going. This routine should ideally keep you on track for a long time, but even people with a solid routine can also run into problems. It's hard to stay on track when life throws you a curveball. When your schedule changes due to some problem or unforeseen event, the foundation that keeps your routine together goes out the window. If an accident happens, something essential breaks, or you have to move, change jobs, or start a new school, it's hard to keep up your routine. Even if a minor incident will only take you out of your routine for a few days, it can be hard to get back on track if you don't plan for it. This will happen, so you need to account for it. Stray from the path a little bit and you risk not getting back on it at all. Things happen in life, and unless you remain in charge and learn how to get back on course, you risk never becoming fluent in Japanese. That's why getting back on track becomes as important as creating a routine in the first place. The first thing you should be conscious of is the smaller temptations in life that can veer you off your set path. These include watching too much YouTube, binging Netflix, or arguing on Twitter. These activities don't really matter much in the long run, but they provide instant gratification, which is why it's easier to go for them over what brings you more joy in the long run. When you're tired, it's even easier to fall for temptation.
Minasan, you all need more discipline!
That's why it's important to take care of your health. Make sure you get enough sleep. Ideally, you should go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. Use a sleep mask or curtains that block out the light if that's a problem, and keep the room you're sleeping in cool. Also be sure to exercise and eat healthy. This will have a huge impact on how you feel and the decisions you make. It's much easier to do the work when you're well rested. What's also important to keep in mind is that doing the work feels a lot better in the end. It's easier to do things that provide immediate gratification, but if you continue to do too much of that, you'll never really amount to anything.
No problem.
It's of course easy to think this, but make sure to put reminders in place to make sure it happens as well. One way to do this is to surround yourself with things that make you remember why you wanted to learn Japanese in the first place. If that becomes part of your life, then it will be easier to get back on the path when you veer off it. This means that you should also continue interacting with Japanese culture, though not at the expense of studying.
NANI?
It can also be helpful to list up the reasons why you would want to learn Japanese and look at that list from time to time. It's often easy to lose sight of the big picture and focus on small problems that show up day to day. It's only by lifting your head and looking at the long term that you ultimately can decide what actions will benefit you the most in the future. What I'd like to do to make sure I stay on track is to send myself reminders from time to time. This means that I will set a task in the calendar on my phone. I will set it to show me a notification and send me an email with a message about what I should keep in mind. This means that even if I stray from my routine for a while, I will have reminders in place that will get me thinking about what I need to do, instead of whatever derailed me. Another thing that helps is to schedule in weekly review sessions. You can add this to your calendar as well. If you do a review session each week, then you can assess what worked and what didn't. If you've fallen off the wagon completely, then this will prompt you to get back on. You will also get to think actively about what went wrong and what you could do to improve. Everyone's life and circumstances are a bit different, so learning to think about your own process can be very valuable.
大丈夫です。OK ですか?
While many people have trouble making themselves do the work on a regular basis, one thing that helps is to have an upcoming test. If you're not learning Japanese in school, then you won't have this luxury. What you can do, however, is to apply for the Japanese language proficiency test. That way you will have a set date to work towards, making it easier to keep going. You could also book a trip to Japan in the future and then aim to be at a certain level before that. Remember that regardless of your schedule, you will fall off it once in a while. Just be sure to get back on track whenever you can. If you can manage that, then learning Japanese becomes only a question of time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that enjoyable. If you did, hit the like button, click subscribe, hit the bell button as well, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Never give up!